The term cybercrime is not defined in Indian law. It is not defined in the Information Technology Act of 2000 or the Information Technology Act of 2002, neither in the Amendment Act of 2008 nor in any other Indian legislation. Even after being amended by the Information Technology Amendment Act 2008, the Indian Penal Code still does not use the term cybercrime. Still, cybercrime can be defined as illegal behavior involving a computer or a computer network or a network device. Most but not at all. Cybercrime is conducted by profit-driven cybercriminals or hackers. Cybercriminals target computers or devices directly in order to harm or disable them, while other targets computer or networks in order to disseminate malware, unlawful information, pictures, or other things. Some cybercrime targets computer in order to infect them with a computer virus which subsequently spreads to the other computers or in some cases whole networks. Types of cybercrimes. Cybercrime ranges variety of activities. Cybercrime can be basically divided into three major categories. A. Cybercrime against persons like harassment occurred in cyberspace. Although the use of cyberspace, harassment can be sexual, racial, religious, or other. B. Cybercrimes against property like computer wreckage, destruction of others' property, transmission of harmful programs, unauthorized transpassing, unauthorized possession of computer information, etc. And C. Cybercrimes against government like cyber terrorism. Let's understand it a bit briefly. A. Cybercrimes against persons are cyberstalking. It means to create physical threat that creates fear to use the computer technology such as internet, email, phones, text messages, webcam, websites, or videos. Dissemination of obscene material. It includes indecent exposure or pornography, basically child pornography. Hosting a website containing the prohibited materials. These obscene matters may cause harm to the mind of the absolvent and tend to deprave or corrupt their mind. Defamation. It is an act of imputing any person to lower down the dignity of the person by hacking his mail account and sending some mails with using vulgar language to another person's mail account. Yeah, vulgar language. I don't know why some people do that, but yeah, it happens, right? That's why we all have created law. The next is hacking. It can be defined as an attempt to exploit a computer system or a private network inside a computer. Simply put, it is the unauthorized access to or control over computer network security systems for some illicit purpose. Cracking. It is one of the serious cybercrimes known till date. Cracking means that a stranger has broken into your computer system without your knowledge and consent and has tampered with precious confidential data and information. Hey, I need to show you one thing related to hacking. And is negative or positive? I'm letting you to decide, okay? Mom says her 11-year-old genius son hacked into his school's virtual system and shut down classes. November 11, 2021. A mom recently went viral after finally revealing all the trouble her 11-year-old has been endured to his amazing tech skills. A mother shared to the internet about a savvy son who used his talents to do what any other fifth grader would do. Get his class cancelled. Victoria recalled about school calling her in April 2021, telling her to come in because her child was in major trouble. She said 4 police officers, the district attorney's office, superintendent, principal, and CIT technicians were all waiting for her upon arrival. What possibly could my 11-year-old child, who is in 5th grade, have done that has warranted all the police activity? Victoria thought to herself. But she soon learned that her only child had been controlling the internet at her school for the past 3 months. She said he had been shutting it off and on and preventing the teachers from conducting virtual lessons, all thanks to her son. But authorities went easy on the elementary school student and only punished him with some computer programming classes and community service instead of filing criminal charges. After receiving so many comments of support and questions from curious TikTokers, Victoria posted a video update on Monday highlighting her baby genius, Elijah, and letting her followers know that he did not have to deal with federal charges because the district attorney did not want to ruin the 11-year-old's record. While the school wanted criminal charges filed, it was not really in their hands, Victoria said. She shared that part of his punishment included building a virtual soccer stadium since he plays the sport in real life, writing an apology letter to his mother, performing community service, which included cleaning the local church with his grandmother, and building a virtual basketball game, which Elijah completed in 2 hours. I knew he was smart, Victoria said in the video update. Does he make the best choices all the time? She jokingly said, while Elijah shook his head. No, in the back seat of their car. No, but we are working on that, and he is a very good child. Overall, he's a good boy. So, do you think that 12-year-old deserves a better punishment? Let me know in the comments down below. Let's go back to the types of crimes against persons. Email spoofing. A spoofed email may be said to be one which misrepresents its origin. It shows its origin to be different from which actually it originates. SMS spoofing. Spoofing is a blocking through spam, which means the unwanted, uninvited messages. Wrongdoer steals mobile phone number of any person and sending SMS via internet, and receiver gets the SMS from the mobile phone number of the victim. It is very serious cybercrime against any individual. Carding. It means false ATM cards, debit and credit cards used by criminals for their monetary benefits. So, withdrawing money from the victim's bank account malafidely. There is always unauthorized use of ATM cards in this type of cybercrimes. Cheating and fraud. It means the person who is doing the act of cybercrime, like stealing password and data storage, has done it with having guilty mind, which leads to fraud and cheating. Child pornography. It involves the use of computer network to create, distribute, or access materials that sexually exploit underage children. Assault by threat refers to threatening a person with fear for their lives or lives of their families through the use of computer network like email, videos, or phones. B. Crimes against property. As there is rapid growth in the international trade, where business and consumers are increasingly using computers to create, transmit, and to store information in the electronic form instead of traditional paper documents. There are certain offenses which affect persons' properties, which are as follows. Intellectual property crimes. Intellectual property consists of a bundle of rights, any lawful act by which the owner is deprived completely or partially of his rights is an offense. The common form of IPR violation may be said to be software piracy, infringement of copyright, trademarks, patents, designs and service mark violation, theft of computer source code, etc. Cyber squatting. It means where two persons claim for the same domain name either by claiming that they had registered the name first or by right of using it before the other or using the something similar to that previously. For example, two similar names like www.yahoo.com and www.yahoo.com. As we can see, the second one have an extra A. Cyber vandalism. Vandalism means deliberately destroying or damaging property of another. Thus, cyber vandalism means destroying or damaging the data when a network service is stopped or disrupted. It may include within its preview of any kind of physical harm done to a computer or any person. These acts may take the form of theft of a computer, some parts of a computer, or a peripheral attached to the computer. Hacking computer system. Hacktivism attacks those including famous Twitter login platform by unauthorized access or control over the computer. Due to the hacking activity, there will be loss of data as well as computer. Also, research especially indicates that those attacks were not mainly intended for financial gain too, and to demise the reputation of the particular person or company. Transmitting virus. Viruses are programs that attach themselves to a computer or a file and then circulate themselves to other files and to other computers on a network. They usually affect the data on a computer either by altering or deleting it. Worm attacks plays major role in affecting the computerized system of the individuals. Cyber trespass. It means to access someone's computer without the right authorization of the owner and does not disturb, alter, misuse, or damage data or system by using wireless internet connection. Internet time theft. Basically, internet time theft comes under hacking. It is the use of an unauthorized person of the internet hours paid for by another person. The person who gets access to someone else's ISP user ID and password, either by hacking or by gaining access to it by illegal means, uses it to access the internet without the other person's knowledge. You can identify time theft if your internet time has to be recharged often, despite infrequent usage. C. Cybercrimes against government. There are certain offenses done by group of persons intending to threaten the international governments by using internet facilities. It includes cyber terrorism. Cyber terrorism is a major burning issue in the domestic as well as global concern. The common form of these terrorist attacks on the internet is by distributed denial of service attacks, hate websites and hate mails, attacks on sensitive computer networks, etc. Cyber terrorism activities endanger the sovereignty and integrity of the nation. Cyber warfare. It refers to politically motivated hacking to damage and spying. It is a form of information warfare, sometimes seen as analogous to conventional warfare. Although this analogy is controversial for both its accuracy and its political motivation. Distribution of pirated software. It means distributing pirated software from one computer to another intending to destroy the data and official records of the government. Possession of unauthorized information. It is very easy to access any information by the terrorists with the aid of internet and to possess that information for political, religious, social, ideological objectives. Before diving into this topic more, I want to introduce you to some types of cybercrimes which are the most common in India. You would have heard about them millions of times for the aid of TV and of course newspaper. Then we can know how the heck or exactly when those crimes took its teeny tiny steps. To be clear, I mean the history. Identity theft. When a criminal obtains access to a user's personal information, they can use it to steal money, access private information, or commit tax or health insurance fraud. They can also use the individual's name to create phone or internet account, organize criminal activities, and claim government benefits in your name. They might do so by breaking into users' password, stealing personal information from social media, or sending out phishing emails. Phishing. Hackers send malicious email attachment or URLs to users in order to obtain access to their accounts or computers. In instance of such attacks, many of these emails are not identified as spam because cybercriminals are getting more established. Users are duped into clicking on links in emails that suggest they need to change their password or update their payment information, allowing thieves access to their accounts. Social engineering. Criminals use social engineering to make direct contact with you, generally via phone call or email. They generally act as a customer service person in order to earn your trust and obtain the information they want. This information can include your password, your employee's name, or your bank account number. Cybercriminals will gather as much information about you as possible on the internet before attempting to add you as a buddy on social media sites. They can sell your information or open accounts in your name after they obtain access to an account. Botnets. Botnets are networks made up of infected machines that are managed from afar by hackers. These botnets are then used by remote hackers to transmit, spam, or attack other computers. Botnets may also be used to conduct harmful operations and serve as malware. Prohibited contents. In this type of cybercrime, the cybercriminals share those contents which are offensive and highly disturbing. Here, offensive and disturbing content is not only limited to sexual activities but also includes violent videos, criminal videos, and videos related to terrorist activities. This sort of information may be found on both the public internet and the dark web, which is an anonymous network. Cybercrime under IPC and IT Act. There are a lot of statutes and regulations enacted by various authorities that penalize cybercrime. The Indian Penal Code 1860, IPC, and the Information Technology Act 2000, IT Act, both penalize a variety of cybercrimes, and unsurprisingly, many clauses in the IPC and the IT Act overlap. Laws governing cybercrimes in India. Cybercrime refers to illegal activities in which a computer is used as a tool, a target, or both. Traditional criminal actions such as fraud, theft, forgery, defamation, and mischief, all of which are covered under the Indian Penal Code, might be included in cybercrimes. The Information Technology Act 2000 addresses a variety of new age offences that have arisen as a result of computer abuse. The Indian Penal Code 1860, the Bankers Book Evidence Act 1891, the Indian Evidence Act 1872, and the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934 were all swiftly amended by the ID Act. The amendments brought under the sections of these acts were to make the complaint with new technologies by establishing stringent legal recognition. These modifications attempted to tone down all the electronic transaction or communication, bringing them beneath the radar. So let's encounter some landmark judgments on cybercrime about our beloved country. The first cybercrime occurred in 1992 at India when the first polymorphic virus was released. The case of Yahoo vs. Akash Arora, 1999, was one of the earliest examples of cybercrime in India. The defendant Akash Arora was accused of utilizing the trademark or domain name yahooindia.com and a permanent injunction was sought in this case. The case of Vinod Kaushik and others versus Madhvika Joshi and others, 2012, is the other example in which the court held that according to Section 43 of the IT Act 2000, accessing the email accounts of the spouse and father in law without their consent is prohibited. Section 43 in the Information Technology Act 2000, penalty and compensation for damages to computer, computer system, etc. If any person without permission of the owner or any other person who is in charge of a computer, computer system or computer network A. Accesses or secures access to such computer, computer system or computer network or computer resource. B. Downloads, copies or extracts any data, computer database or information from such computer, computer system or computer network, including information or data held or stored in any removable storage medium. C. Introduces or causes to be introduced any computer contaminant or computer virus into any computer, computer system or computer network. D. Damages or causes to be damaged any computer, computer system or computer network, data, computer database or any other programs residing in such computer, computer system or computer network. E. Disrupts or causes disruption of any computer, computer system or computer network. F. Denies or causes the denial of access to any person authorized to access any computer, computer system or computer network by any means. G. Provides any assistance to any person to facilitate access to a computer, computer system, or computer network in contravention of the provisions of this Act, rules, or regulations made thereunder. H. Changes the services available of by a person to an account of another person by tampering with or manipulating any computer, computer system, or computer network. I. Destroys, deletes, or alters any information residing in a computer resource or diminishes its value or utility or affects it injuriously by any means. J. Steal, conceals, destroys, or alters, or causes any person to steal, conceal, destroy, or alter any computer source code used for a computer resource with the intention to cause damage. He shall be liable to pay damages by way of compensation to the person so affected. Explanation for the purpose of this section. I. Computer contaminant means any set of computer instructions that are designed A. To modify, destroy, record, transmit data, or program residing within the computer, computer system, and a computer network, or B. By any means to usurp the normal operation of the computer, computer system, or computer network. I. Computer database means the representation of information, knowledge, facts, concepts, or instructions in text, image, audio, video that are being prepared or have been prepared in a formalized manner or have been produced by a computer, computer system, or computer network and are intended for use in a computer, computer system, or computer network. I. Computer virus means any computer instruction, information, data, or program that destroys, damages, degrades, or adversely affects the performance of a computer resource or attaches itself to another computer resource and operates when a program, data, or instruction is executed or some other event takes place in the computer resource. IV. Damage means to destroy, alter, delete, add, modify, or rearrange any computer resource by any means. V. Computer source code means the listing of programs, computer commands, design and layouts, and program analysis of computer resource in any form. In 2011, a decision was reached in the matter. All of these instances deal with the question of how cybercrime has evolved, with a focus on India. CBI vs. Arif Azim, Sony Sambandh case 2013. In 2013, India had its first cybercrime convention. It all started when Sony India Private Ltd, which owns the website www.sonysambandh.com and targets non-resident Indians, NRI, filed a complaint. NRIs may use the service to transfer Sony items to friends and families in India after paying for them online. The firm guarantees that the items will be delivered to the intended recipients. In May 2002, someone using the name Barbara Campa went onto the website and bought a Sony color television and cordless headphone. She provided her credit card information and asked for the items to be sent to Arif Azim in Noida. The credit card company cleared the payment and the transactions were completed. The products were delivered to Arif Azim after the business completed the necessary due diligence and inspection processes. The firm took digital photos of Arif Azim accepting the packet at the time of delivery. The transaction was completed at that point, but after 1.5 months, the credit card company told the firm that the purchase was illegal since the true owner had denied making it. The firm reported internet cheating to the Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI), which opened an investigation under Section 418, 419, and 420 of the Indian Penal Code. Arifazim was detained once the incident was examined. Arifazim obtained the credit card number of an American national while working at a contract center in Noida, which he abused on the company's website. According to the investigations, in this one-of-a-kind cyber-fraud case, the CBI received the color television and cordless headphone. The CBI had enough evidence to establish their case in this instance. Therefore, the accused acknowledged his guilt. Arif Azim was found guilty under Section 418, 419, and 420 of the Indian Penal Code, making it the first time that a cyber criminal has been found guilty. The court, on the other hand, believed that because the accused was a young kid of 24 years old and a first time offender, a compassionate approach was required. As a result, the court sentenced the accused to a year of probation. The decision has an adverse ramification for the entire country. Apart from being the first cybercrime conviction, it has demonstrated that the Indian Penal Code may be effectively used for some types of cybercrime that are not covered under the Information Technology Act 2000. In the case of CBI versus Arif Azim, Sony Sambat case 2013, the main sections were Section 418. Cheating with knowledge that wrongful loss may ensure the person whose interest offered is bound to protect. Whoever cheats with the knowledge that he is likely thereby to cause wrongful loss to a person whose interest in a transaction to which the cheating relates, he was bound either by law or by a legal contract to protect, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years or fine or with both. To put it in simple words, we can say that Section 418 of the Indian Penal Code states, if a person is cheating on another willingly, the person knows that her or his act can cause the other to face wrongful loss. According to the law or legal contract, a person who is cheating on the other, who she or he should protect, but he does it anyways, can be punished with 3 years of imprisonment or fine or maybe both. Section 419. Punishment for cheating by personation. Whoever cheats by personation shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years or with fine or with both. To get a better understanding, we need to go through Section 416. A person is said to cheat by personation if he cheats by pretending to be some other person or by knowingly substituting one person for or another, or representing that he or any other person is a person other than he, or such other person really is. Explanation. The offense is committed whether the individual personated is a real or imaginary person. Illustrations 1. A cheats by pretending to be a certain rich banker. 2. A cheats by pretending to be B, a person who is deceased. A cheats by personation. Section 417 in the Indian Penal Code. Punishment for cheating. Whoever cheats shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 1 year or with fine or with both. As we can see, the punishment for cheating by personation is harsher in comparison to that of simple cheating under Section 417, which we just show. The last section of this case is Section 420 in the Indian Penal Code. Cheating and dishonestly inducing delivery of property. Whoever cheats and thereby dishonestly induces the person deceived to deliver any property to any person or to make, alter, or destroy the whole or any part of the valuable security or anything which is signed or sealed and which is capable of being converted into valuable security shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Essential elements of Section 420. 1. Cheating. 2. Dishonest inducement to deliver property or to make, alter, or destroy any valuable security or anything which is sealed or is capable of being converted into a valuable security. And 3. Manslaughter of the accused at the time of making the inducement. Let's encounter some examples of Section 420. 1. There are two persons, A and Z. A exhibits the false sample of an article to Z and intentionally makes Z believe that the article corresponds with the sample. A here induces Z to buy and pay for the false sample of the article. 2. A, by pledging as diamond articles which he knows are not diamonds, initially deceives Z and thereby dishonestly induces it to lend money. A cheats. Pune Citibank emphasis call center fraud 2005. In 2005, 350,000 was fraudulently moved from the Citibank accounts in the United States to a PUBank accounts over the internet. The workers won the client's trust and got their pins under the idea that they would be able to assist them in dealing with tough situations. Instead of decoding encrypted software or breaching firewalls, they were looking for flaws in the Emphasis system. According to the court, the defendants in this case are Emphasis Contract Center ex-employees. Every time an employee enters or exists, they are examined. As a result, the staff had the numbers memorized. SWIFT, or the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Communication, was used to transfer the money. Unauthorized access to the consumer's electronic accounts was used to commit the crime. As a result, the case is classified as a cybercrime. The IT Act is wide enough to cover these types of crimes, and any IPC infraction involving the use of electronic documents can be prosecuted on the same level as crimes involving traditional materials. Because of the kind of illegal access that is involved in the committing transactions, the court determined that Section 43A of the IT Act 2000 is relevant. The defendants were additionally charged under Section 66 of the Information Technology Act 2000 as well as the Section 420, 465, 467, and 471 of the Indian Penal Code 1860. Let's go through the first section of this case. Section 43A of the Information Technology Act. Compensation for failure to protect data. Where a body corporate possessing, demanding, or handling any sensitive personal data or information in a computer resource which it owns, controls, or operates is negligent in implementing and maintaining reasonable security practices and procedures, and thereby causes wrongful loss or wrongful gain to any person, such body corporate shall be liable to pay damages by way of compensation to the person so affected. Explanation. For the purpose of this section, body corporate means any company and includes a firm, sole proprietorship, or other association for individuals engaged in commercial or professional activities. I. Reasonable security practices and procedures means security practices and procedures designed to protect such information from unauthorized access, damage, use, modification, disclosure, or impairment as may be specified in an agreement between the parties or as may be specified in any law for the time being in force, and in the absence of such agreement or any law, such reasonable security practices and procedures as may be prescribed by the central government in consultation with such professional bodies or association as it may deem fit. AAA. Sensitive personal data or information means such personal information as may be prescribed by the central government in consulting with such professional bodies. Dairy. I have covered the Section 43 of IT Act in a previous video. If you have seen it, so let me know in the comments down below. And if you still haven't, so grab a couple of minutes and go and check it out. You will find a link in the description. Thank you. So let's continue. The next section is Section 66 of the Information Technology Act 2000. 66. Computer-related offences. If any person dishonestly or fraudulently does any act referred to in Section 43, he shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years, or with fine which may extend to 5 lakh rupees, or with both. Explanation for the purpose of this section. A. The word dishonestly shall have the meaning assigned to the Section 24 of the Indian Penal Code 45 of 1860. B. The word fraudulently shall have the meaning assigned to it in Section 25 of the Indian Penal Code 45 of 1860. Section 24 in the Indian Penal Code defines the word dishonestly. Whoever does anything with the intention of causing wrongful gain to one person or wrongful loss to another person is said to do that thing dishonestly. And Section 25 of the Indian Penal Code defines the word fraudulently. A person is said to do a thing fraudulently if he does the thing with intent to default but not otherwise. Section 420 in the Indian Penal Code 420. Cheating and dishonestly inducing delivery of property. Whoever cheats and thereby dishonestly induces the person deceived to deliver any property to any person or to make, alter, or destroy the whole or any part of a valuable security or anything which is signed or sealed and which is capable of being converted into a valuable security shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Section 420 of the IPC deals about cheating, and according to it, it is an cognizable as well as non-bailable offense. By the way, the word cognizable offense has been defined under Section 2C of CIPC or the Code of Criminal Procedure. Cognizable offense means an offense for which an cognizable case means a case in which a police officer may, in accordance with the first schedule or under any other law for the time being enforce, arrest without warrant. Basically, the person will get arrested and a warrant will not be needed. So let's go through essential elements of Section 420. 1. Cheating. 2. Dishonest inducement to deliver property or to make, alter, or destroy any valuable security or anything which is sealed or is capable of being converted into valuable security, and manslaughter of the accused at the time of making the inducement. Making of a false representation is one of the essential ingredients to institute the offense in IPC for cheating under Section 420. In order to bring a case for the offense in IPC for cheating, Section 420, it is not merely satisfactory to prove that a false representation has been made, but it is further necessary to prove that representation was false to the knowledge of the accused and was made in order to deceive the complainant. Only then in IPC for cheating Section 420 can be evoked. The term cheating has been defined under Section 415 of the Indian Penal Code. Section 415 states that whoever, by deceiving any person fraudulently or dishonestly, induces that person so deceived to deliver any property to any person or to consent that any person shall retain any property, or intentionally induces the person so deceived to do or omit to do anything which he would not do or omit if he were not so deceived, and which act or omission causes or is likely to cause damage or harm to the person in body, mind, reputation, or property is said to cheat. For example, there are two persons, A and C. A exhibits the first sample of an article to C and intentionally makes C believe that the article corresponds with the sample. A here induces C to buy and pay for the first sample of the article. A is C, pose C. And the last section of this case is Section 465 of the Indian Penal Code. It states punishment for forgery. Whoever commits forgery shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 2 years, or with fine, or with both. Section 468 in the Indian Penal Code defines the term forgery. Forgery for purpose of cheating. Whoever commits forgery intending that the document or electronic record forged shall be used for the purpose of cheating shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Section 465 of the IPC deals with a crime named forgery. It is a non-cognizable but bailable offense. Any person who will commit crime on this ground will receive 2 years of imprisonment or fine, or in some cases both. By the way, we got another section to cover, Section 467 of the Indian Penal Code, which is gonna be the last section of this case, which states that forgery of valuable security, will, etc. Whoever forges a document which purports to be a valuable security or a will or an authority to adopt a son, or which purports to give authority to any person to make or transfer any valuable security or to receive the principal interest or dividends thereon, or to receive or deliver any money, movable property, or valuable security, or any document purporting to be an acquittance or receipt acknowledging the payment of a money, or an acquittance or receipt for the delivery of any movable property or valuable security shall be punished with imprisonment for life, or with imprisonment of other description for a term which may extend to 10 years, and shall also be liable to fine. The last section of this case is Section 471, which tells us that using as genuine a forged document of electronic record, whoever fraudulently or dishonestly uses as genuine any document or electronic record which he owns or has reason to believe to be forged document, or electronic record shall be punishable in the same manner as if he had forged such document or electronic record. The last case law we're gonna analyze today is NASCOM vs. Ajay Sood and others 2005. The National Association of Software and Service Companies (NASCOM), India's largest software association, was the plaintiff of this lawsuit. The defendants ran a placement firm that specialized in headhunting and recruitment. The defendants prepared and sent emails to third parties in the name of NASCOM in order to collect personal data that they might utilize for headhunting reasons. According to the court, the plaintiff's trademark rights were recognized by the High Court of Delhi, which issued an expert ad interim injunction prohibiting the defendants from using the trade name or any other name that is confusingly similar to NESCOM. The defendants were also barred from claiming to be affiliated with or a part of NESCOM. During the process of search, the defendants under whose name the illegal emails were sent were revealed to be fake identities fabricated by an employee on the defendant's order in order to evade detention and illegal action. The defendant was liable to pay damages to the plaintiff for violating his trademark rights. This was the landmark case in which the court declared that phishing on the internet is an illegal activity and entails injunction and recovery of damages. Pune Auto Ancillaries Private Ltd. Unlimited, Pune vs. Punjab National Bank, HO, New Delhi, and others 2013. Manmohan Singh Matheru. In the year 2013, Maharashtra's IT Secretary Rajesh Agarwal ordered Punjab National Bank (PNB) to pay 45 lakh to the complainant Manmohan Singh Matheru, MD of Pune-based business Pune Auto Ancillaries, in one of the biggest compensation awards in the judicial adjudication of cybercrime case. After Matheru responding to the phishing email, a fraudster deposited raised 80.10 lakh from the PNB account, Punjab National Bank account in Pune. Since he reacted to the phishing email, the complainant was requested to share the blame, but the bank was deemed responsible owing to the lack of appropriate security checkups against fraud accounts created to deceive the complainant. The final case is State of Tamil Nadu vs. Shuaskati 2004. The law stems from an obscene, defamatory and harassing remark against a divorced lady that was posted in a Yahoo chat group. The accused also forwarded emails to the victim seeking information using a fake email account he created in the victim's name. Due to publishing of the message, the lady received a slew of unpleasant phone calls from people who thought she was soliciting. The defendant paid the fine and was sent to Chennai's Central Prison. This is the first case in India to be covered under Section 67 of the Information Technology Act. Section 67 of the Information Technology Act states that punishment for publishing or transmitting obscene material in electronic form, whoever publishes or transmits or causes to be published or transmitted in the electronic form any material which is less or if its effect is such as to tend to deprave and corrupt persons who are likely having regard to all relevant circumstances to read, see, or hear the matter contained or embodied in it, shall be punished on the first convention with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years and with fine which may extend to 5 lakh rupee, and in the event second or subsequent conviction with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years and also with fine which may extend to 10 lakh rupees.